Welcome to another video with fun facts in GTA San Andreas. You probably know the cheat code, touch my car, you die, which turns our vehicle into sort of a tank. However, it turns out that its effects change depending on when we activate it. If we activate the cheat code outside of a vehicle and only then enter one, we will get two effects. Our car will become invincible, and every car we hit will immediately explode. The second option is activating the code while already inside of a vehicle. In that case, we'll still blow up all the cars we touch, but our vehicle will not receive invincibility. Thus, it'll explode at the first such impact. There's also the third mode, which works in the opposite way. Our car becomes invincible, but doesn't cause other vehicles to explode on impact. It also gets interesting if we enter an about-to-explode vehicle with the cheat code activated. Then, we'll notice that in spite of the presence of the characteristic pre-explosion flames, the vehicle won't explode. It gives the Ghost Rider effect if used on a motorcycle. What's more, if we bail out of such a vehicle at a high speed, it'll still not explode, though if we leave it while stopped, the car will immediately blow up. Another thing is probably the most possessed glitch I've encountered so far. Granted, you can't trigger it on a clean, unmodified version of GTA San Andreas, but the effect is so absurd that I just had to include it here. First, we need the Clio cheat menu. There, we have the air brake function, or a so-called no clip, which freezes the in-game time and allows us to freely move our character through walls and other objects. If we drive into a pay and spray and enable the air brake while the car is being resprayed and fly out of the garage with its help, after disabling it, crazy things will happen. Our vehicle will literally start behaving as if it was possessed. It crashes with invisible obstacles, is being flung in random directions, and it sometimes looks like it's being pulled by certain objects as if it were magnetic. The game still reacts to our inputs, but it's really hard to describe what that reaction even is. It's pure dark arts. This state also has one very intriguing effect. When hitting an object, CJ receives fall damage as if he were outside of a vehicle. We know that, usually, CJ is practically untouchable while in a car. It's not like in the Mafia, where one crash can prove to be fatal. It gets even more interesting with a helicopter. The game quickly restores the normal steering, but the stall effect of the glitch doesn't go away. If we hit a building too hard, CJ will die, and the wasted screen will display. But despite that, we'll still be able to control our helicopter as if nothing ever happened, at least until we're teleported to the nearest hospital. To be honest, I haven't the slightest clue how to explain it. What is going on in this glitch is beyond my comprehension. Another fun fact blew my mind completely. You surely know the hidden minigame in GTA Vice City, where you have to drive passengers around town in a bus. The game never informs us of its existence, thus it became such a cool fun fact. The question is, does it work in other GTAs too? In GTA 4 or GTA 5, we'll be disappointed, excluding one of the scripted sections in one of Franklin's side missions. But did you know that it also works in San Andreas? That's right, if we pull a bus up at a bus stop, the pedestrians walking by, or those who'd already been waiting at the bus stop, will enter the bus after a while. Unfortunately, that minigame seems very unfinished. First of all, out of all the bus stops I've managed to find, including those only marked with a sign, only a select couple actually works. To be more specific, that select couple are a few bus stops in North Las Venturas. Additionally, a passenger who has entered the bus will never leave it. The game won't display any instructions, and stopping at other bus stops won't do anything. It gets weirder if we drive the bus into the water. As we know, in San Andreas, heads who drive into the water fall out of the vehicle and drown. Meanwhile, in our case, no one falls out of the bus. Additionally, if we try to scan our vehicle by applying the cheat code, "Wheels only please," we'll still not see nobody. It therefore seems as if the bus in GTA San Andreas works like a black hole. Out of curiosity, I wanted to check what would happen if we took a story character for a ride in a bus. Would they also vanish out of the game's world? I took Sweet and his girlfriend from the mission Sweet's Girl. At first, it got weird because both Sweet and his girlfriend disappeared. However, the mission didn't fail or anything, so I decided to leave the bus again. And then, Sweet and his girlfriend magically reappeared. The situation looks similar with recruited gang members. The most plausible explanation is saving resources. Characters who enter the bus get despawned, because we wouldn't be able to see them anyway without the use of cheats. Despawning casual pedestrians also has its reason. It seems that the developers handled casual PIDs and story characters differently. Normal pets despawn for good, while story characters are temporarily despawned for a while, but they're saved to be restored later. Despite this function being unfinished in GTA San Andreas, the sole fact of its existence is a really cool discovery, at least for me. Time for something a lot of people may have already noticed, but not many talk about it. I'm talking about the desert traffic. To be more precise, the traffic in the south of the desert. Drivers in Bone County are true wheel masters. Let's have a look at the local roads. The first thing that catches the eye is the speed they drive with. Cars travel at significantly higher speeds here than in other parts of the state. At times, it looks absurd and obviously leads to many crashes. Actually, it's weird that those crashes occur. Why? Well, that's considering the badass brakes they all got installed in their rides. It's best seen if we walk onto the road. The cheeky bastards don't even need the ABS. The braking distance does not exist at all. To add to that, tall trucks perform some very suspicious maneuvers at a nearby bridge. Though that's a common issue across the series. Same thing in GTA 3, LCS, or VCS. That's not quite it yet though. Apart from braking, the desert drivers are gifted with an incredible talent to perform sharp turns at high speeds. They utilize the method of the satanic drift we talked about in the last video. Essentially, the traffic in the desert is pure comedy in some places.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
In GTA San Andreas, certain delivery trucks may spawn with various companies' logos. However, the developers went the extra mile with this. Not only the banner on the bodywork changes, but also the contents of such a truck. In most cases, there's no shockers. We mainly can find some boxes with the logo of the company from the bodywork, but in a few cases, the developers really came up with something special, mainly in the case of the truck Benson. For example, we have the version of that truck with the logo of the company, Discount Furniture. In the back, we can find chairs, which perfectly fits the furniture company. A real gem is the Benson with the logo of the company Uphill Gardener, which is a gardening center. Inside of the Benson, we can find a cute little flower. And the last example worth mentioning is the company Shafted Appliances and the mule truck, on whose back we can find household products such as fridges or microwaves. Another cool detail which the developers implemented can be observed when CJ wants to party a little and is looking for a girl to keep him company. See, it turns out that a prostitute won't enter our car and won't offer her services if a policeman's nearby. That obviously makes sense, as prostitution is illegal in many American states. Not only that, the developers pushed this idea even further and added one more thing. Once we've already picked up a lady of the night and begun the fun with her, and we get spotted while we're at it, the intercourse gets interrupted and we get a wanted star. The game then instructs us to find a secluded place again. That also has its reasons, since public sex also can't really celebrate legality in many countries. A really cool detail, especially that it isn't an often image, because it takes the player to get the brilliant idea of having sex in the middle of a sidewalk, which isn't possible everywhere. I bet you're familiar with those security booths at the airport gates. The question is, do you know they're bugged? I mean, not all of them, but those in San Fierro are. The San Fierro airport in general seems particularly messed up. First, we had the glitch with the gate magically opening, and now we can add the glitched hitbox of those booths. See, you can drive into such a booth using a low vehicle such as the cart. The furniture inside lacks collision detection, and the computer displays a screenshot from a developer's program, while the facility's security guard apparently couldn't give a heck about our presence. Real comedy kicks off if we enter the booth while being chased by the cops. The police will hopelessly attempt to penetrate the walls, which looks hilarious. One time, a police helicopter actually managed to destroy the barracks one of the soldiers had parked next to the booth, which made it explode and damaged the cart I'd driven into the booth, which also exploded and actually hurt CJ. Unfortunately, this whole coordinated strategy didn't account for the 4 soldiers who got blown into pieces by the explosion of the barracks. The moral of the story is that booth is a perfect safe spot from the cops, who make absolute clowns of themselves trying to get inside. In LV and LS, everything is well made, and the trick doesn't work. In one of the GTA 4 videos, we were talking about a glitch where if we killed the driver of a bus with a sniper rifle and entered the bus, the driver would get resurrected, leave the bus, and then hit the floor again. Today, we've got something similar. If we enter an ammunition shop with a shooting range and kill the assistant by an explosion, like with a grenade or a rocket, he'll actually survive and start shooting at us, and die only after a few seconds. It happens only in the case of explosions. Killing him with a usual gun looks as intended. The matter is especially interesting because the trick only works in the ammunition shops with a shooting range. In the normal units, where there's no shooting range, everything looks normal. It's hard to say what that is. If you have an idea, let me know about it in a comment. Remember when I said in one of the previous videos that the sight of two CJs standing next to each other was something beautiful? Well, how about 3 CJs? Or maybe even 4 CJs? I'm talking about the cloning glitch in the management issues mission, of course. Then it additionally turned out that by using the recruit anyone cheat code, we can actually recruit CJ's clone. And one of the viewers asked a very accurate question. Is there a possibility to clone CJ multiple times? I verified that. Unfortunately, you cannot achieve that without the use of helpers. Not only do we have to have the recruit anyone cheat code enabled, but there's also another problem. When we launch the mission management issues, the game disbands our posse and turns the CJ clone into a normal pedestrian. Well, fine, a pedestrian with a serious existential crisis. In any case, he will not follow us anymore. Additionally, the game actually disables the ability to recruit homies in general in that mission. So in order to recruit the clone again, I had to write a custom script. Nonetheless, once I dealt with those issues, all it took was to simply repeat the procedure of the glitch, while making sure our already created clone doesn't get run over by Scipio's driver. However, we can command them to stay put near the place where we perform the glitch with the H key, so they don't despawn. In this way, we can stack CJ's clones infinitely. Now, this site is simply genius. You can essentially have 4 CJs pulling off chaos on the streets of SA. Pure gold. By the way, I also answer one other question of one of the viewers who wondered if the clone would change its clothes if we changed ours in real time. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. The clone will always have the clothes the original CJ wore in the moment of performing the glitch. If you have some lesser known fun facts of your own, which would be worth talking about in one of the future videos, then let me know about them in the comments. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you soon.